Welcome to Page Turners, a weekly bookish podcast for every kind of reader. Whether you want to explore a variety of genres, tick books off your growing TBR, or simply skip the reading for book club, we've got you covered. That's Liv.
And that's Amy.
Hello.
Hello.
I always think to myself that I should try and switch up the hellos and the highs, but
I know.
every time I do it and I press that record button, I just go hello again.
It's almost like a kind of natural signal for us
Yeah,
to end our conversation that we were just having before we started to record the podcast and then talk about podcast things.
yeah, and we're in
Yeah.
the zone.
Exactly. Yeah. We're like sleeper cell spies. We're in. We're locked in.
Wow,
How are you?
I'm great. I was just thinking there, if we were sleeper cell spies and that was our word, hello, I'd
Hello.
be fucked, absolutely fucked.
No one will ever say it. It's never gonna come up.
Um, yeah, good. Well, that's probably a lie.
Oh.
Mental health wise, I'm not great, but this is one of my many joys. Sorry, this is one of my few joys. So I ain't, I, I
Oh.
ain't bringing it down in here. So yeah, moving swiftly on. How are you?
We keep it real. We keep it real. We never lie about how we're doing. I'm all right. Yeah, just fairly. There's a lot of fence stuff going on in my life right now.
Mm,
It's not very interesting.
mm.
Rudy had a good birthday.
Yeah.
There we go. We started Split Fiction. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. So I'm all right. I'm excited for playing more of that tonight.
Excellent. Good. Oh, that is, yeah. What I probably should, we should probably should clarify for people listening, when Amy says there's a lot of fence things, it's not symbolic. There is literally a fence being built in Amy's back garden.
Yeah, it's not me trying to be deep, or it's not a metaphor for anything. I'm literally getting a fence built, and it's there's a lot to it apparently.
Mm,
There's a
yeah,
lot to be discussed on an ongoing basis.
not
I
for
don't
us.
even think it's a fencer at the door right now. I think it's a neighbour because the
Oh, of
neighbours are also very involved in the conversations about the fence. So
course.
it's a
But
spectator sport.
yeah, and it's not for us little women to speculate on the
No, no,
complexities of building a fence.
nah. My interest levels are low, to be fair, so it's okay.
That's fair. It worked out very nicely. We're going to basically skip the currently reading because both of us are very much knee deep in podcast books, and that would just be defeating the point of what we're currently reading. But we both have book news or book happenings. I think I might have two bits of book news, actually.
Oh, I wonder if they overlap. I
I
wonder
would
if we
too.
have the same.
Why don't
Okay.
why don't you go first?
Okay. My book news relates to Ali Hazelwood.
Oh, mine neither of mine do, so this is very
Oh,
exciting.
okay. So have you heard of this? Any Ali Hazelwood news? No. Okay. I thought you might
Oh,
be thinking, I do know about
wait,
this.
wait, has she been ran off TikTok? She's been
Yes.
right, go on, yeah.
Yeah. So this could be out of date now, but as of 8 days ago, she had deactivated all of her social media. Reason being, she had made some derogatory comments about Peter Malark.
Yes.
I think she called him boring because she's a Gale Katniss shipper, whatever. Okay, but the backlash has been so great that she has felt that she has to leave social media for her own mental health,
Yeah.
and that is wild to me.
Yeah. She was basically making fun, wasn't she? She wasn't being serious.
Yes.
She wasn't being like
No.
Peter Malark's the worst or whatever. Like there was
No.
no I mean, first off, fictional character. She was
Exactly.
not dragging
Of a
John.
very old book series. Like I know that we obviously have got more recent books within the same universe, but the trilogy, it's been a while. But really vitriolic responses from people. A lot of passionate PETA supporters out there. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm a
Yeah,
big fan of Mr. Malark, but come on. This is a fictional character we're talking about here. This person's been ran out of social media as a result.
Which mad to me. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I haven't seen what she said or the video or whatever, but it's she's clearly joking. Like Gail is the worst person in the whole fucking world. Look at that. I'm clearly joking. Where are the Gail stands? Run us off social media, run us off this
Are
podcast.
you joking?
I mean, look, if I'd have found out that Ali Hazelwood was a Gale shipper, like pfft, rubbish. Would I have still read her books? Yes, because it's fine.
She also clearly has a type. She likes a
Uh,
dark, tall man. Like, we are allowed to have our opinions about fictional relationships.
yeah, I mean, look, does she also love a sister killer? Yes, yes, she does. Like that's what
Yes,
gets
she does.
so
Is she an apologist for that kind of behavior? Yes.
clearly. So,
But
but
yeah, absolutely wild. The fact that people feel so passionately to the point that they have been, I assume, I haven't actually read the comments, but I assume have been personal in their response. I
yeah,
don't think she's going to have decided to leave social media unless there was a real reason for it. So,
yeah, nobody leaves social media for a bunch of people all in on the same joke, right? Like,
no, exactly.
yeah, no, excellent. Well, oh, fantastic.
What's your news? Is it positive?
No, neither of them are actually. Um, the first one is an update on the Beverly Laura J. Roberts
Oh, yeah.
thing. So Laura J. Roberts is the author that is suspected to have either not be a real person, actually be AI, whatever. And she was off social media and she's come back to post a post saying that she has done nothing wrong. That in actual fact, this is just a total coincidence. Um,
Oh.
and she is in fact turning it around. And I feel really bad because I don't remember the name of the other author other than that her initials are RJL. And has said that we live in a time where it's incredibly easy to manipulate things online and get people to run with it. No matter what kind of screenshots they show you, I know the truth. I know the sleepless nights I poured into these characters. Laura J. Roberts is my real name. So she's dictated that, like, that little
It's a
coincidence.
coincidence. Yep.
I don't know access 24/7 to myself, which is why she's saying that she didn't hire, like people were saying that she wasn't real because she hasn't put her face online. I stand by Beverly. Yeah, crackers. I've also seen some side by sides of the story itself. Oh God, it's so similar.
I was just about to say it looks like the reasoning is it's all just been a huge big coincidence, but how much of a coincidence are we talking here?
Well, let me read you an extract from what people are saying is the original. He wants you, Arthur, Mom told Daddy. He won't talk to me. He said he wants you. All right, Daddy responded. Go down, put Elise to bed. I'll take care of Aston. And then this is the other one. He wants you, Arthur. Mom's voice was a quiet plea. He won't talk to me. He said he wants you. All right, Dad responded, and I imagined him kissing her forehead. Go ahead and put Beverly to bed. I'll take care of him.
Oh, wow.
So, there is a new theory, and if it is true, it could really backfire. But the theory is that they are both the same person. And
I didn't want to say this last time, but when you mentioned this to me, that possibility did cross my mind. But you had mentioned that the original author had been very upset and was really hurt by what had happened. So I didn't want to bring it up in the podcast because it felt very insensitive, but it
yeah.
did seem a little bit suspect.
So, yeah, there's a potential because I mean, to me as well, this isn't something I've read, but I was looking at those two. That looks like a first draft and a final draft.
Yes, I was just going to say it sounds like an edited version of it, but then I thought again, not particularly sensitive if this isn't actually what's going on here. But it does sound like someone has redrafted that.
Yeah,
Wow.
we will see. I don't know. I mean, I say we'll keep you updated. We'll probably both forget and move on, and no one will ever know. Well,
Yeah.
but don't come to us for book news, guys. Like,
No. That's okay. So maybe the theory would then be this was originally published maybe at a time when this kind of book or book talk and bookstagram and social media wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Yep.
And because it is something that, we see books becoming incredibly viral and incredibly popular sometimes overnight, is that the thought process?
Yeah, I think maybe
Ah.
it's that she's rewritten it, but maybe drummed up this beef to almost
Mhm.
create a marketing campaign. I think the only way she'd be able to get away with it, if it was, is if the story itself holds some sort of like a link to this, like, not mistaken identity, but like something where the marketing scheme matches the plot to.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, yeah.
Otherwise, people might be very angry at being manipulated. My second bit of book news is talking about Goodreads. Did you know that book Goodreads is Amazon owned?
I didn't know that. No.
So that already so for me I've not come off of Goodreads. I don't use it anymore really. I'm still there, but like I don't use it anymore because every year I'm getting to a point where the Goodreads awards that you're told to vote in, etc., don't really put books that have received a bunch of the sort of good reviews, etc. They do it for books that are most of the books are, TikTok viral, that sort of thing, not
Yes.
necessarily
Hmm.
audience loved, and that sort of
You
no,
just couldn't trust it anymore. Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
not. But
Mm.
specifically, this article was talking about a crime writer called Jo Furness. It's basically her newest book, which the arcs haven't even gone out yet, has received a number of one-star reviews.
Ah,
And
okay.
she's saying, like, look, at the end of the day, I don't care that there's one-star reviews. Like, I've got thick skin, but it's just that she doesn't get the same sort of protections that a troll or somebody who's just one-starring her books for fun, because it's impossible to have an opinion because no one's read it yet. And
Wow.
other authors have come out. Romance author Millie Johnson, she had a one-star review for a book that hadn't even been seen by a copy editor. So both authors and I imagine a bunch of other authors have raised it with Goodreads, but Goodreads has said that they won't interfere because the reviewer had the right to predict they wouldn't like it.
Interesting. Why, or maybe they haven't said this, but why are they putting up books that haven't even been picked up onto Goodreads?
No,
Because
oh, I think
what's
it.
the thought process?
Well, it's because obviously I think it's more they're not putting them up. Publishing, when it's you go and see what the second book's going to be or something, and then it says like there's no cover, but there's a publication date and there's like a name or a title of it, or
Ah.
I don't think it's been done for any reason other than just to have it up there or something
Mhm.
because it's linked to Amazon, and if you've got an Amazon
Mm.
page to sell it, then potentially it's
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think about there. Like, who is it that puts it up and who decides when it goes live? And interesting that you can't have it up and not have it, not have the rating switched off. Doesn't sound like that's an option.
yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
I think the most annoying thing is that Goodreads tries and pitches itself as a serious review site when in
Mm.
actual fact it's not really. It's just a form of social media for people with books.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't try and, they are almost the industry leader in terms of
Mm.
book sharing, book reviewing, book like that type of thing.
Hmm.
So I think they're talking about the fact that there's no protection for authors.
Right. Okay.
Very quick podcast news for
Mhm.
us. We recently released our episode on Song of the Stag by R.M. Brown. And this is probably, well, no, this isn't the first time an author has listened to the podcast.
Oh.
We've had two other instances,
Mm.
but this is definitely a very wonderful celebration of the podcast from a author.
Yes. It feels like a milestone. Like if I
Oh,
was thinking about like things that have happened throughout the podcast journey, this would make it on that big timeline in my mind.
yeah.
For sure.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. R.M. Brown, Rebecca has been lovely. Basically turned around and said, like, this is the podcast I'd have wanted to put out or I'd have wanted to hear about my book.
Ah, it's so lovely. I loved the screenshot you sent, and it was something like when you when you're writing a book and you imagine it being spoken about in a podcast, and she felt seen by our commentary, which
Yep.
is all we ever really want. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was
thanks.
so lovely.
And I think I've already said this to her, but I'm sure Amy will agree. Like, it just validates sometimes when you and I are like, oh, that was a shit episode. We come out of the back of it and we're like, oh, that was shit. But actually, it makes me
Hmm.
feel like we do make good points and we do talk, and the stuff we do say makes sense, which is very nice and always good to have that told to you by someone who doesn't.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, because there has to be a little bit of ego here somewhere, right? Where we feel that we have got things to say about books that people want to hear about.
Yep.
Um, and not to say that this means that you should absolutely listen to every single thing that we say, but it's just nice to know that the person that actually created the story thinks that what we're talking about isn't complete shite. So that's lovely.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And we are very eager for the sequel.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, onwards and upwards.
Onwards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's another one of those episodes, everybody.
And Amy, because it was your wonderful suggestion, would you like to
Mm,
tell us what we have read this week?
nah. But that aside, we have read With a Vengeance, the newest release by Riley Sager.
Trigger warnings, my love.
Hang on, hang on, hang on. I couldn't find them in the book. I couldn't find them on a website, but apologies if they are there. I just didn't find them. This is quite comprehensive. Smoking, drinking, toxic family relationships, abuse, death of family, language, cheating, death by suicide, grieving, blood, violence, murder.
Yeah. Um,
Peril, if
oh,
you care.
always peril.
If
Uh,
you're invested enough in the story to care, there's some peril in there.
yeah, if you haven't already been turned off by the numerous changes in plotline, then yes. I actually think the speedy summing might be quite speedy. Count me.
Ready to take it away?
Always.
Okay. Three, two, one, go.
Anna Matheson has lured the six people responsible for her family's death and ruin onto a train running straight from Philadelphia to Chicago, with the intent to have the FBI meet them off the train to arrest them, Anna having sent the boxes of information on ahead. Only one man doesn't turn up because his son, Dante, Anna's former lover, has stolen the invite to see her again. 12 years previously, during World War II, her father was framed as a German sympathiser and traitor, after her brother and over 30 other people were killed on one of his trains that was sabotaged to fail. The family name was destroyed, her father was murdered in prison, and her mother killed herself. The six people responsible do begin dying one after the other on the train, murdered by an unknown assailant who at first appears to be trying to frame Anna. After a stranger appears on the train and professes to have boarded incorrectly, he is revealed to be an FBI agent assigned to the case, but then also the son of a man who was on the same train that killed Anna's brother. In a barrage of twistier turns, the first guy to die faked his own death and is branded the murderer, but he is later killed by Seamus, Anna's right-hand man, also a brother of one of the train victims, before he flings himself off the train because he's not got long left to live. The FBI agent is actually revealed to be the murderer, taking revenge and planning to kill everyone on the train to get away with it. Anna fights him and flees to the engine room where the door is opened to reveal that Kenneth Wentworth, Dante's dad, and the man behind the plan to frame her father, has been driving the train all along. He is smug and self-assured and tells Anna that he did it because her brother was actually his son and her father stole her mother from him. They arrive in Chicago, and the saboteurs, who are still alive, are arrested, including Wentworth. Anna prepares Dante for the shitstorm he'll face and offers him the support he didn't give her 12 years ago. Whilst confessing to his crimes and taking the blame for Seamus, the FBI agent recommends Anna to his boss, and she is offered a job. The end.
1 minute 52.
Oh, thought that was going to be shorter, but anyway. Yep,
And
that's.
probably 1 minute 42 of that were twists that you had to explain.
I thought you were going to say 1 minute 42 if that was just information you didn't need.
No, no, I thought you did it really well. First impressions?
Do you know, I was actually kind of already quite fairly drawn in quite quickly. When you pitched the book, you were like, oh, I think it'll be quite an easy read, quite a fast one. And you weren't wrong. It was quite fast
Mhm.
and it was quite easy to get through. But I was like, ooh, who's it gonna be? And then at the end of it, I was like, who's it not gonna be at this point?
I agree. I like the setting. I thought, yep, 1950s. This is cool. That the train travel harkens back very kind of Agatha Christie, like it. And then uh, very quickly the wheels came off the train, as it were.
Yeah, yeah, the wheels came off the train, and much like the express service, it did not stop.
It did not stop at all. It was as if the author had came up with many twists as possibilities and then thought, let's just put them all in.
Where do we even start? Like, let's start with the first death then. So your
Yep.
main one of you probably this guy holds a bit more responsibility. He was the main engineer and sort of designer of the trains, science guy.
Mhm.
He like falls dead, real hard air quotes here, after having like a martini. Well, what the hell's happened? And then they realize that there's poison and they're like, "Oh, did
Mhm.
they poison the glass? Did they poison what's going on?" Like crazy. And then maybe, I don't even know, they put his body in his compartment.
With a sheet over him, so we can't see his face at this point. So bear that in mind that he's not been the world's best actor. He's got a
Yeah.
sheet over his face.
I don't even know. Half the book later, maybe?
Yes. Yeah, about half the book later, we have the reveal that he is not dead.
And
He faked his death in the most sophisticated way possible with about 15 minutes to come up with it.
not even that, about 15 seconds? At what point yeah, so earlier in the train journey, they've all been taken through the train because it's a limited staff. Everyone got them on, and then
Hmm.
Anna has paid off the staff to then fuck off. So it's
Hmm.
basically her,
Yep.
Seamus, and then the rest of these people, and then our mystery FBI guy, which we're gonna get onto in a fucking
Hmm.
Jesus Christ. So there's 8 people on the train, well, nine if you include the driver, and then 10 if you include your uninvited guest. Anyway,
We can come back to the driver situation later. What was that? Anyway,
um,
yes.
so yeah, they're then all taken to their rooms, and
Mhm.
somehow when they don't see anyone on the train, all of them going to the first class lounge, somehow none of them decide to do that at the same time and bump into each other. He has managed to go to the galley
Mhm.
and find rat poison, put a small bit of that rat poison into his pocket watch, to then empty that rat poison into his into his drink
Mhm.
and not drink it, but
Finagle some kind of special effects level, I don't even know, like a little bag, maybe like a little cling film of baking powder, it sounded like, and red food coloring.
oh yeah, and like vinegar or something into his mouth to make it froth out.
Like when you make a volcano as a kid in science, and
Yeah,
then you pour all the bits in and you get the chemical reaction. Yeah, he creates that in a little bag or a little pouch made of cling film. I don't
yep,
really know. Puts it in his mouth and uses it to basically look like he's frothing at the mouth and he's been poisoned.
yep, yep. But somehow,
When did he even know to do that though?
well, that's it. I don't necessarily, I'm not going to let him get away with the rat poison, but I'm at least, it's a bit more believable that because he realizes as soon as he gets on, right, sorry. What we should state here is it is not first person. You do get third person with each character's sort of
Mhm.
thoughts or point of view, etc. And at no point when we have Judd, is his name Judd?
Judd. Hmm.
Judd. No
Judd.
point in Judd getting on the train and his introduction do we get his thoughts and everything, but we don't get any clue that he knows what's going on. And
No, he's not suspicious at any point, and yet he still thinks to go to the galley, find the rat poison,
but
make this little creation, whatever.
but then that changes to 50% later when we get his POV again, not dead, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, he knew it was Anna. He knew what was happening." It's like, "What? Sorry, no, you can't have it both ways. You can't not know in his own thoughts here, but then also no, like, yeah. So fair enough. Maybe he figures something out. Don't know. Whatever. Fine. He goes and gets the rat poison for insurance purposes. I don't fucking know why. And yeah, that's right. When does he decide to make the thing? There was some shit about him being a magician, like, or like
I
he
know.
does magic tricks with Anna, and I'm like, I feel like that is only in there character development wise, so that you can make this at least semi-believable.
Totally. And there were a few things like that because, and we'll come to this bit in a minute, but Wentworth and the twist with the train driver, that was already that was alluded to and foreshadowed because it mentioned that he quite likes driving trains.
Cool.
So, uh, I feel like I had an issue with every single character, as in the twists that they were involved in just made no fucking sense. And I feel like there was an attempt to make us feel sympathetic for some of these characters, but what? So there's a great plot. It's a conspiracy basically to frame Anna's dad for this murder of 36 soldiers on a train.
Yeah.
And everybody's involved somehow. So we mentioned Judd. So he designed the train, didn't he? And then switched the blueprints for like a less, I don't know, a train that was only ever destined to blow up, whatever. What was the name of the one?
Herb.
Yeah, yeah. So he has a young wife. So we are supposed to accept that he has accepted this bribe and done this horrible thing because he doesn't want to lose his wife.
Ah, no. So that's the reason he comes to the train, because they're all lured here with a handwritten note on the back of the invite being like, to Herb, it's like a lucrative finance thing, and he wants because
Ah,
he got rich from the scheme and got himself
yes.
a wife. And so yeah, that's why he's there. But no, he just did it for money. I think he was in debt or something, or like was in.
Right, so he's just doing it for debt. Right. There is a Nazi sympathizer.
Oh yeah, no, because we were apparently meant to feel sympathy for them.
Yeah, like a
And
kind of
also,
nanny for the
yeah,
children.
well, I think she's a housekeeper, but then she becomes a nanny because she always wanted to have kids, whatever, fuck that. But like, I'm sorry, but when she says she still fully believed that Germany was superior, I was just like, what? And the only reason she leaves Germany, post having both of her husband and her been in the Nazi political group, etc., wearing swastikas, I might add, in the photo, then like he dies, she only leaves Germany because she thinks they're going to lose the war. She
Mhm.
moves to America because she thinks that Germany will lose. And it's like, okay, how am I supposed to feel bad for this person?
Exactly. Okay. Sally or Sal.
Sally,
Um,
the only person who I feel sorry for. I felt sorry.
that was the only one. Who else do we have in there? Just to be check. Was there anybody
Oh,
else?
the lieutenant colonel who had already done war profiteering and was then
I
black.
don't care about him.
Yeah.
Barely even. And the fact that every single time he was spoken about or referred to, his full name was used, just really got on my nerves.
They used full names for fucking everyone.
Everybody's full name. Yeah, I had a lot of sympathy for Sally. A lot of sympathy.
Sally's being blackmailed. Sally is gay, and she has this one night stand with, or this tryst with a beautiful woman she meets in a bar, and there are photos of it because it's all a setup. And she
Right.
she
Okay.
doesn't even know what she's meant to be doing because she doesn't know anything's going to happen. She just has to plant some fake letters or write some fake correspondence or whatever
Mhm.
after the fact. So if anything, the only person really is Sally. That, you know.
So back in the day, back in the 1950s, bear in mind, we had the technology to be hiding in a cupboard, presumably, taking photographs of people in compromising positions and not having a flash or any kind of sound that might give away the game.
I'd not even considered that.
I
Um,
know. absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Also, I feel like it should be mentioned that the first female FBI agent wasn't actually until 1972 or 1973, not the 1950s. So fuck off.
So, and it wasn't Anna. It wasn't,
Oh, yeah, no, her name
that
was not Anna.
mastermind.
Her name was not Anna Matheson. Also, that mastermind, fuck off. All she needed was, yeah, sorry. So basically, the reason that this because the guy who was killing everyone, the FBI agent Reggie, uh, he offers his boss. He's like, "Oh, by the way, mate, I know I've just gone a little bit off piece and killed a bunch of people, but actually, funnily enough, I reckon you should hire Anna for this fucking job 'cause she's super observant and like, she put all this together like crazy, right?"
Is she super observant? Is she any good at logistical planning at all? What was the plan? The plan was the most convoluted nonsense I've ever heard in my entire life. She buys every single seat on that train, pays off every staff member. She has the evidence to incriminate all these people and doesn't just give it to the FBI without all this pomp and ceremony. This has to happen first.
Also, just to be clear, everyone listening, she doesn't collate this evidence. This evidence is sent
No.
to her aunt, apparently by Dante, but that's never
By
mentioned.
Dante.
That's never mentioned.
That's just so that we're on board with them being in a relationship with each other. And honestly, who cares about them? I didn't even really think about Dante much at all.
Then it's brought to Anna by Seamus, who
Mhm.
then is just they just look through it.
If Seamus had been the killer, I would have been less irritated. When it came up, there was a line that said something like, "At least I got to kill one of them."
Yes,
Instantly, I was eye rolling, thinking, "Oh no, there's another one."
yes. Yeah, I was first off like, well, this makes no sense. How has he managed to kill everyone? Like, because there's this whole double bluff type thing where Seamus has a bunch of tablets in his pocket, and
Mm.
there's this like this classic NCIS sign off where it's like he knew there used to be six and now there's only five, and it's because he's taken them. They're muscle relaxants for his. Is it
Yes.
Parkinson's?
Unknown life-threatening condition
Yeah.
that means that he'll just jump off a train
Yeah.
because he's got nothing left to live for.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. What I love about that as well is if he loved Anna as much as he fucking said he did, why wouldn't he stay and take the blame?
Like, if you don't, because he's basically saying, I don't care if I die. I haven't got long left. I'm really ill. I'm only getting worse. Well, why not just go to prison for what you did then? And then she's out the picture. There's no way she can be put in the frame.
Yep.
Nah, jump off the moving train.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is as clever about this life than Riley Sager is about this plot.
Also, there were too many times when someone was supposed to be dead when actually they were alive.
Oh, Sally, my God, what the fuck? So yeah, but who were they like, but then apparently Anna's created this whole plot. Like there's a plot within a plot. Like at what point does she begin this? We never find any shit out. So basically it gets to the end time, where there's like a few of them left. The lieutenant colonel's apparently had a heart attack, but it was faked again. This is the second time he's faked a heart attack, by the way. Um,
The first time wasn't good, Riley. The first time I didn't,
no,
it was not a good idea. Don't
no.
do it again.
Yeah, my God. And then, so he fakes out, and apparently it's. Oh, sorry, we haven't even discussed the fact that the only way Judd gets away with the fact that he's not dead, because, guys, he doesn't like. I thought he was going to have some sort of taken some tablet or whatever that makes it appear like he's dead, some sort of magical thing that you always see in like sci-fi and
Hmm.
fantasy, whatever you do. And I was just like, okay, cool, yeah, fine. No, he just keels over, pretends to be dead, and the reason he gets away with it is because Seamus doesn't know how to take a pulse.
Doesn't know, and they put a sheet over him so he could just be lying under the sheet, fully eyes open, like looking around himself. We wouldn't know because the sheet is magical,
Yeah, and
apparently.
no one can see the sheet moving with him breathing. But do you know?
It's fine.
And
It's fine. They are the most resourceful group of people I've ever came across in a book because we had the first character, Judd, creating this little magical mouth thing to, like a science project. And then using just lipstick and nail polish,
oh,
Sally is able to create a realistic enough bullet wound on her forehead
Yep.
for no one to question that actually she's not dead. She's just sitting in the chair.
Also, for the killer who hasn't killed her to not question that
So,
he hasn't shot her.
uh-uh. Just like, well, I must have done it because of the realistic bullet wound on your forehead. What?
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Ah, yeah, yeah. Um,
How many do we end up having? So Judd ends up not being dead, Sally ends up not being dead, the Colonel ends up not having had two heart attacks. Reggie,
Tommy at one point might have been alive, but thank God wasn't, because I honestly thought that would be one of the twists that her brother was not actually dead, but it was
oh
just a
my
dream that she
God.
kept on having over and over again.
Oh yeah, she kept yeah, there was this weird lack of supernatural element where she kept having these dreams where Tommy, her brother, is like, "Oh yeah, it's me," and blah, and then he's like blood and sinew, but turns out because Dante is Tommy's half brother, she's like, "Oh, of course, that must have been who I was seeing." Is skulking around in the dark, and you're like, right, okay, so you fucked this guy when you were younger, and you had no clue that he looked anything like your brother.
No clue. No clue. Oh, that, yeah, because that's another twist, everyone, that actually Dante's dad is Tommy's real dad,
Hmm.
and that's why all this has been plotted and planned, because the conspiracy to ruin Anna's dad. It's love. It wasn't greed, wasn't jealousy. At one point he said it was revenge. And I was like, revenge for fucking what? For someone falling in love with somebody else?
Yeah, also, I don't think you can blame Arthur Matheson, the train man who goes to prison, Anna's dad, for this because if anything, and I don't want to blame women. I'm a girl's girl, but the evidence really does point to Anna's mum being the one that should
Really
have lived
does.
here. Like,
Really does. Yeah. Exactly. Hmm.
mm,
I know. What does Arthur? So Arthur does know that Tommy's not his son.
I don't
We
know.
don't know.
We never
We
know.
don't know.
Um,
We don't know. We don't know. He's just killed. He's just stabbed up 36 times in prison.
yep, for all the people that were killed. Yeah, because yeah, that's also that was Wentworth's doing. He paid for someone to do that. Thanks. Heavy-handed fucking like like someone is we are all sat in a high chair and Riley Sager is spooning out fucking bits of plot and
Oh
being like, have
my.
that, shoving it down our fucking throats.
It just felt so much like wink wink to the camera, like all the time. Like someone's so self-satisfied by everything. Like he was stabbed 36 times because 36 soldiers died, right? Okay. The worst twist for me, the the driver. The driver just won't stop the train because he, well, we
Yeah,
think money, we think he's also really against the fact that this conspiracy happened and he also wants revenge for all the dead soldiers. But no, 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 that's not the reason.
yeah. So she's hired this driver. She's given him like double the pay or 3 months' salary or something for him to potentially risk losing his job, obviously, because she's hijacked a train that used to be her father's, is no longer hers, obviously. Her this fake brother, daddy, uncle, whatever
Hmm.
Wentworth has bought it out from under them. Which is what you first think is the first motive. Of course, the first thing everyone does when she says that the train is non-stop to Chicago is go and knock on the driver and be like, "Let us off, let us off." He doesn't open the door, and then Anna's like, "I've even said to not listen to me or pretend to be me or anyone, you know." And then
No.
Dante's like, "Oh, yeah, technically my dad owns this train, so I'm in charge here, so don't do it." And you're like, "Oh my God, Dante's a good guy, whatever." And then
No.
he responds to Dante by knocking twice and then we never see or get talked about him again until Anna is then being attacked by Reggie, the FBI agent. And then she is like, "Oh no, I said not to listen to me at all." And she's like, "Oh, help, help," or whatever. And then it opens and it's turns out it's Dante's dad this whole time, who had known about the invitation despite the fact that Dante had apparently taken the invitation before he'd ever seen it.
Why would he just go and drive the train? I just don't get what was what.
And yeah, he goes and drives the train, fine, but he also doesn't seem to have any other plan apart from that.
Mm,
He goes to drive
mm-mm.
the train, but he's just so self-assured that she doesn't have any evidence. I don't even think he tries to do anything.
No. He just takes them to Chicago, but I don't know what his plot is when he gets there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, surely you'd think, I better hedge my bets and move to somewhere that doesn't have an extradition treaty just in case. No,
Are we supposed to think that this is some kind of great love story between Anna and Dante? Because where has Dante been when she's been going through the trauma of her dad dying, her mum dying, and her brother dying? All within, it sounds like quite a short period of time.
yeah, so yeah, Tommy dies in the train explosion.
Hmm.
Then her dad's arrested quite soon after for being a German sympathizer. Then her mother maybe has like a year or something of like, and
Her
that's
mum takes her to, yeah, like her mum takes him out to drive one day for a picnic and then drives off a cliff. Why is everybody so dramatic?
not even funny, but it's just like, it's just imagining that first off, because she apparently drives off a cliff, they've picnicked on top of a cliff. Like,
On top of a cliff. Yeah. Do you want to put that handbrake on? No, it's all good. Don't worry.
um, are they the only people there?
Oh
She
yeah, because that's trauma for someone else to be witnessing
she
that. Come
like
on.
so they have the picnic or whatever, and then she's not in the Anna's not in the car, and then her mum gets into the car and says, "Hopefully you'll forgive me for this," and then just goes, "Remember."
Also, the margin for error with driving a car off a cliff. There's other ways you could do that rather than something so traumatic for your child and so likely to go wrong. There's other ways. There's other ways, is all I'm saying.
I feel like there are other ways for everything that happens in this
I
book.
know. It's so complicated. And also, Anna has just messed up her whole life. Her financial planning is non-existent. She has bankrupt herself to do this. There's no reason to do it that way.
Oh
She's got
yeah,
the evidence.
sorry, just to be clear, yeah, her aunt is a millionaire, married a millionaire. He
Hmm.
died quite young, well, young. But so then Anna's aunt, who didn't really, the only person she ever cared about was Anna's dad, apparently. Um, and yeah, so she goes and lives with her. She's a millionaire, basically. And then the biggest thing for me is that she's really hard on Anna. She like slaps her and keeps like
Slaps her. Mm.
slapping her at random bits to make sure that she doesn't flinch. What then to try and make her stronger? And I pose this question to you, Amy, and to everyone listening, and to Riley Sager also. What would an 18-year-old millionairess have to know about being strong?
Because in this tough world that you're coming into here,
Yeah.
you gotta be strong.
So
But rather than trying to set herself up for, everybody that responsible has been brought to justice, she can go and live happily. She just puts every single penny she has into this one very unnecessary plot
yeah. Just
just because it's related to trains, I feel like.
that's it. Like just for the drama. And is there a level where we have to respect it just for the drama? But like how
In
also
some ways.
also how expensive are these train tickets? Because
I know.
sorry, so she's a millionairess, right? She has bought
Hmm.
out every ticket from third class to coach and first class, right? That, you know, I don't it's not cheap, but I don't think it breaks the bank as much as we're led to believe. But then also, I suppose she's paid off staff. I don't think they get
Paid
paid.
off staff. Paid off staff, paid off the driver. I don't know what else she's done.
That's
Got
it.
loads of work done to look glamorous or something. Like she's had, I don't know what's going on there, what
Then
that storyline was about.
she must have looked like a fucking brick because honestly, I cannot figure out where this money has gone.
And she just wasn't interesting. If she'd been a bit more like badass and it was like proper, she was just feeling her fantasy, doing her speech, loving life, I could respect her more. But she was such a drip. every single 2 minutes, she was like, "Oh no, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I need to avenge my family, but I shouldn't have done this, but I must do this." It's like, what is going on? You've had years to plan this out.
Y literal years. And then also, you're so right. She's chopping and changes. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I want them to come to justice, etc. Oh, they'll be so crazy. And then for some reason the red mist descends and she strangles her old nanny.
You forgot about that
There was
bit.
a
I forgot
point.
about that bit.
There was a point in this book where I was convinced Anna was doing all the murders, but not knowing she was doing the murders.
Listen, I've read some other Riley Sager books. I think that could be a plot of one of them.
Fucking hell. God.
Yeah, here's something else.
No, she's obviously a top fighter.
Oh yeah, because she's been trained up. Because Seamus said you need to learn to fight like a man. She was like, I'm going to learn to fight like a woman.
And yeah,
Okay
sorry,
then.
her aunt has made it so that one of some of her training is to be taught how to fight. Again, what has an 80-year-old millionairess ever had to do to learn to fight? Like, no, why? Why? Basically, the aunt is just using Anna as a catalyst for her own revenge because the aunt's the one that's collated all this evidence, written to people, fully believed that he was never, that her brother, Anna's father, was never a
Mhm.
traitor. Like, fine, absolutely, but
All you have to then do is just take it to the FBI. Here we go. There we
the main,
go. That's it.
the main gripe that Anna has, or the main reason she has to not taking it to the authorities, fine, is because she said that they messed up the first time. I'm like, yeah, sure, but they didn't do it because there was no evidence. They didn't just like put their hand over their eyes and go, it was that fucking guy.
No, they had stacks of evidence. Yes, it was all forged evidence, and we know that now. But they used the evidence to make their decision, and they'll do the same thing again when you present them with all the evidence.
Kenneth Wentworth did it really well. That's why your father was arrested. Not because of the police being fucking incompetent. And don't get me wrong, I am not a lover of the police, like in any scenario. But just fucking yeah, you could have saved yourself a whole lot of hassle.
A whole lot of hassle. And the only reason she says that she wants to do it in this way, because we need something, is she wants to watch them squirm, which is a complete lie, because about 15 minutes into the journey, she just tells them all to go to their room and wait until they get to Chicago. So you're not getting any pleasure out of this. You're seeing nothing from this.
Yep. Yep. Oh, well, what a wonderful book. I'm sure we'll read more. So I feel like we should talk about this. Obviously, Riley Sager, I sort of the first time I'd ever heard of them, it was from you, sort of, yeah, a book about an author that you enjoy. But I was like, oh, horror, okay. But no, this is a crime book. There's no horror here whatsoever. Would you say that this is typical of Riley Sager?
Mm, I would say he's very hit and miss.
Fair.
Very hit and miss. I've read some goodies. I've read some really rubbish ones, and this is the worst of the worst.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah, this is yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Okay.
Reviews. We haven't even done reviews. And
God,
I feel
no.
like what can we even say about them? Because I imagine everything negatives we've already discussed.
You would think so. Rather than give you the option, I figure I'll go straight into the ones because
Yeah.
as you can imagine, there's a fuckload of them. Oh, second Riley Sagar book, second 1 star.
Be interested to know what the other one was, but
I
yeah, I can see
know
that.
they do not say. With a Vengeance was the story that I wanted more out of. Okay, yeah. What I
Hmm.
like is it starts fairly mellow, and then it's Agatha
Hmm.
Christie is screaming from wherever her soul is, and she's mad as hell. There are quite a few suggestions that this plot has already been done by Agatha Christie. I suppose, yeah, there's definitely elements of, I mean, the train obviously is Orient Express, but then
Yeah, I feel like there's probably been elements of this done, like parts of the twists and themes and things have definitely been done before, but I don't think that they've been done all together in one story. So, yeah.
and do you know what, Amy? There's probably a reason for that. Um,
Who's the editor of this book?
yeah, that's what we need to find out. This latest book felt like a train ride from hell. It was incredibly boring, and I almost gave up on it several times. In hindsight, I probably should have.
Mm. Would
I'm
you have DNF'd if not for the podcast?
no, because I don't DNF books. I want to be honest. I want to pretend that I might have. I think I was just it by the time it got to I just kept rolling my eyes. That's the problem. And by the time it got to like 80% or whatever, I was just like, I swear to God, I just want to know who is the fucking person who's done these words.
Yeah, exactly the same as me. I would not have DNF'd this book, and I do DNF books, but I would have wanted to know who did it. And even although I would have been right there with you and rolling my eyes the whole way through it, I wouldn't have given up on it until I knew who ultimately was the killer.
Yeah, it wasn't because and people could maybe people are listening going, well, that's the sign of a good writer. No, it's not, because I was angry about it. I was like angrily reading. I was
Hmm. And it
clicking.
was quick.
Yes.
It was quick to get through. I mean, I don't think it's so long. I think maybe about 400
It's too
pages.
long for what it fucking
Oh,
should
it's
be.
too, yeah, totally. I mean, the first quarter of the book is just introducing the characters.
Which just repeated storylines again and again and again. How much I don't even remember if her name's Edith, but the odd German woman who's like, "Oh, Grauer Ghost, Grauer Geist." Like, he kept trying to force in supernatural elements that just didn't stick. Anyway,
And I think that's really interesting because in all of the other books that I have read, you think it's supernatural.
right.
He sets it up that it is supernatural and it's a very horror theme. And then the twist tends to be that there was nothing supernatural all along and it was more crime related. So it sounds like he was trying to still sprinkle little bits of that in there, like with Tommy's ghost.
Mm.
It didn't work, but I think that's probably why it was in there.
Yeah, there was never one point where I thought it was anything supernatural in there.
No, no,
Like,
no.
yeah, sorry, back to these. The story added absolutely nothing new. It felt like a recycled tale from other authors, offering no fresh perspective or originality.
Really harsh, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that like shocked me in that.
Nope.
And the more that we've talked about it, the more I find it completely ridiculous. I did the bit where is it the Colonel and he comes and you realize that Sally's well, there's no even like explanation that Sally's alive. It's Sally opened her eyes, and you're just like, what? And then it flicks to a different person, a different point of view, and you're just that's just never explained until like however long away. And I just remember being like, for fuck's sake, guys,
I
like
know.
what? Yeah, to wind up the one stars, so many plot holes, unrealistic scenarios, unrealistic characters, very slow and boring. 100 pages way too long, addressing everyone by their full names the whole way through the book.
The
Oh,
whole time.
oh, Herb Polanski or something, Polanski, whatever.
Hmm.
It's ama
Polanski or something.
it's
Yeah.
amazing that we don't remember everybody's name because it is used so much.
I know. I know. And I only finished this like 2 days ago, so you think I would, but that might just be a sign that it's just not stuck in my head at all.
The only reason I will remember this book is for how fucking terrible it was.
Mm. 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 Do we have any 5 stars? I mean, five is asking a lot, I feel.
From sycophants, probably. Um, the only other thing people are talking about is just the words that ending and like a womp womp. Yeah, that's just the stupidest fucking ending in the world. Oh, and there's this little bit, sorry, where the ending is they decide not to, he wants to take her back, this FBI guy who has somehow gotten there before them,
Hmm.
probably because he's flown or something. He then is like, "Oh, come with me, Missy. Like, let's get a job for you." And they decide to fly because Anna's done with trains.
Your whole last, it's embarrassing that you would even say that when how much time you've put into a train related revenge plot.
Thank you. Oh, oh,
That's just in there though, again, to be like walking away at the end of a film, looking back at the camera and winking. It's just so smug.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, there are some five stars. I really want to talk about the whole major point of the whole plot hinging on one thing. So please remind me that we're going back to that after the five stars. Trust me, we will not be dwelling on the five stars too long. Are you writing it down? Yeah, nice. Fair. It's the only way we'll go back. It's the only way.
Exactly. It worked last time, so I'm going to keep on going with it.
You know what? And I think everyone respects you for it. So someone has specified in this five star, yes, the reviews are mixed. But if you're anything like me, obsessed with classic noir films, Hitchcockian surprise, locked room mysteries, revenge fillers, and trains as metaphorical pressure cookers, then buckle up because this is the ride you didn't know you needed.
So if you like all those things, if you're a fan of those things, you will enjoy this. I mean, that sounds nonsense to me.
Yep. Um, Demonically thrilling.
Who wrote that?
Probably Riley Figure.
ChatGPT. Like,
Miss
demonically thrilling.
Mr. Sega, I must vaunt this fuck shit, unputdownable sorcery that you uttered into parchment here. Like,
Right. He's
this,
got his pals to write these.
yeah, this review is as badly written as this book. Oh, I'm still fairly new to Riley Sager's books, but this one could be my favorite. Buckle up, pal. Um,
Yeah, seriously.
oh, thing is though, some of these are like arcs for publishers and stuff, and part of me
Mm,
just thinks most people don't have the balls to fucking
mhm.
write shit about something they've gotten for free. I can't wait to see what Riley comes up with next. It was tension-filled, heartbreaking, and kept me guessing until the very end. Shall I tell you why it kept you guessing until the very end? Because everybody was a suspect at least once.
At least one time. Heartbreaking. Ah, you cared about any of these people? All right.
Yep. More twists than a pretzel, and I'm a sucker for an old sky school style train murder. I was not expecting
Twist
to.
is not effective just because it's there. And we've talked a lot about the fact that if you cannot see the twist coming, then that's not a good thing.
That's it. I think at the end, yeah, it's either if you cannot see it or if you just suspect everyone because chances are everyone's going to have the means and opportunity, then what's the
Oh,
point?
he was going to make up the reason at the end anyway. So you could pick anybody and then say, oh, it's because of this thing, because we don't know. You're right, we get the third person perspective, but we don't get the actual true insight from to any of these characters the entire way through the story.
Yep. Anna instantly became one of my favorite characters.
Oh, read any other book. Come on.
Even though I haven't gone through what she's been through, I felt her pain. I felt the
Who's
grief.
been through that? Do you know, if I had a pound for the amount of times that I've tried to avenge my family for a convoluted train plot. God.
I felt the grief, the hunger for the revenge, and the constant worry that her plan would not be fulfilled. The plot was clever, and this felt like an old-fashioned mystery novel. I loved the ending. Way to go, Anna.
Ew, who's written that? No.
Oh, it's been
All
written by
right.
R. Sager. Oh no, if you enjoyed Murder on the Orient Express, you'll love this. And that is the last one
Oh,
I've fucking
that's an insult. We can't even read that out.
fucking sycophants on it. Sorry, that's mean. I'm getting angry.
Okay. Okay. So I wrote it down so that we could come back to it, and we're coming back to it. So you said that the whole plot hinged on one thing. What was that?
I mean, look. So so
hmm
the murderer, Reggie, the FBI agent, he is in the Philadelphia office still. He is the only one there other than his boss, and his boss gets a call from the Chicago lot saying, "Oh, we've got a bunch of evidence. Somebody needs to get on this train." And Reggie's the one that gets sent onto the train. And then that's what starts this whole thing off. It's pure luck.
Pure luck. Absolutely. And the absolute flimsiest possible excuse when they do discover Reggie, because he's been hiding in the toilet and then just appears. Oh yeah, I just got on the wrong train. I was meant to go to Baltimore, but I just accidentally got on this one. Right. Okay.
And I mean, also, I don't know how far the FBI office is from the train station. It's fine.
It'll be in, well, I don't know. It depends. Are they talking like proper like Virginia? I don't know who we're discussing here.
They were in the Philadelphia office or whatever.
Okay.
And then he says he's got 10 minutes to get onto the train. So he's bought a ticket. He's got the forethought to buy a ticket,
Hmm.
proving his story or trying to prove his story. And yeah, honestly, it just makes no fucking sense. So
No sense.
none of it is premeditated in terms of him getting onto the train or whatever. It's all like it's making me angry.
I know. It's so lazy. And it's sad because when Reggie was just revealed, I mean, I feel like we knew who he was. We knew he was part of law enforcement, right? Or a detective or something. And that's supposed to be the iconic character of these kinds of stories.
Mm.
The detective is you. You're the detective, if you like. You're solving the mystery. And that's who we get with the flimsiest excuse of all time. And also, we picked the Baltimore ticket because it was cheaper. Mate, you've got bigger things to worry about. You've got to try and be realistic here. You're meant to look convincing.
Also, the only personality we get about him is that his dad's dead and he likes musicals.
So boring. So boring. I
And
didn't know if maybe there's going to be like a little bit of summon between him and Anna, but I also did not care one
I
bit.
th I think they tried to shove that down our throats when he was
Mm.
like, "Oh, because he's meant to be going on a date with a girl to the theater." What I just don't understand is that he gets onto the train and then he decides, do you know what? This is what's going to happen. I'm going to murder everyone on the train.
I'm going to murder everyone. That's my plan.
And then it just seems as if the wind's knocked out of him because he's knocked in the back of the head by Sally, the woman that he knows he didn't shoot, but was sort of like, oh, I guess I did shoot her. She's got like nail polish and lipstick running halfway down her face after
Hmm.
having to do that shit art attack by making
I'd
her.
love if the nail polish wasn't even red. It was just like blue glitter. Oh, convincing.
Um, and
It did make me laugh. We got the Ruth confrontation though, because I knew we had to have that somehow we would end up on the roof of the train, and it was in there, and it was a blizzard, and the train was going 80 miles per hour.
and Anna's in bare feet.
Yeah. And then she just shoots through the observation into the observation cart.
Yeah, the skylight. She knocks it out. They both go in, and then neither of them. There's no mention of cuts or
No.
anything. Or
Mm-mm.
um, yeah, yeah, I'd forgotten all about that. So fucking stupid.
I skimmed that, and that was supposed to be like the climax. And
Oh,
I remember just being like, we're on the roof. No, I can't even deal with this.
yeah, yeah. I was half expecting a tunnel to come and for her to
Yes.
have to go like flat onto the roof. Like
Yeah, totally.
this,
Nonsense.
I'm yeah, yeah. Like how do you get us to believe first of all that a character who works for the FBI who believes in justice clearly decides but also doesn't believe in taking justice into their own hands because they're part of law enforcement and answer to a higher power, not God, the state. Um, and how has that not come up in any sort of like behavioral testing that he's done to get into the FBI?
I honestly feel like he just came up with it on the taxi over to the train. I'm going to kill every single person on the train. Like, he hadn't thought about that one bit.
It just makes no sense. Like, why would he let her keep her knife if he was planning on? At what point does he decide to kill them all?
The knife scene, I forgot about the frisking with a knife scene. Oh, so much of this was just absolute garbage. The more
Also,
we think about it.
she's wearing like this sexy red dress for vengeance because red means vengeance, obviously. Pull it together, guys. At what point are you not going to see quite a large knife under her fucking dress?
And they all instantly suspect her of wanting to kill them anyway. So why they don't all insist that she is frisked by, because they're quite happy for like a third party to do it. They're like, everyone's getting searched because one person is apparently dead. No, they're not. And they're okay with Reggie doing it. Which makes no sense because Reggie's got no skin in the game here.
Well, that's what they think. Also, why didn't it's like if they really wanted to stop this from happening and they clearly have no problem in breaking the law to make money, at what point do they all not just go, let's just rush her?
I know. And just tie it up. Because
Yeah,
they've got the means. Keep her in the cat in her cabin, lock it, and then we'll get there. The whole thing is just pointless anyway. There's nothing they could have done. They couldn't have said that she was out of her mind and therefore nothing that she says to the police is reliable because they've got the evidence. I'm going to keep coming back to this. The actual part that's going to get these people arrested is already done. So this whole train taking them to Chicago thing is pointless. The FBI have got the resources to come and pick them up.
yeah, yeah.
You don't need to get them to Chicago.
Also, at what point? So she says, "Oh, I just didn't trust you guys," or you managed to. She's still done what she should have done in the first place and given the right people the evidence. Just because she's delivering the other dickheads on a train doesn't make a difference.
No, not at all. That's not the bit that's going to fall down. It's the evidence part that she suspects that the FBI have not been handling the case properly. So it's not finding the people and bringing them in.
Just a quick question. Is the evidence not all inadmissible because it was obtained unlawfully?
Yeah. And you know what? I hope they all get away with it.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. Yeah, honestly, what a fucking nightmare. We can all, the only thing we learned from this book is that once again, you are not allowed to suggest books off the cuff.
I'm never doing it again. I'm making no more suggestions. It's not happening anymore. I cannot be trusted.
I mean, it makes for good content, I suppose.
Final thoughts? Not good. Not good. Not even not good after discussing it with you and discovering that actually it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. From the beginning, as I was reading it, I realized it was not great.
Do yourselves
Yeah.
a favor, don't buy this book, don't read this book. If it's on your TBR, donate it to charity. Um,
Just leave it. Just leave this one. You're not going to miss any conversations. It's not going to be appearing heavily in the zeitgeist. Don't worry about it. There are so many better books you can read. I feel like that goes without saying.
yeah, honestly, if you're like, oh, but I really want an easy mystery, let's just try and figure out the plots to everyone. So, Murder on a Train, Murder on the Orient Express, The Lady Vanishes, which is one of my all-time favorite films. I'm pretty sure it's even mentioned in this fucking book. The Mousetrap, you can read the play by Agatha Christie. A Murder is Announced is my favorite Agatha Christie. Do you have a favorite Agatha Christie, Amy?
Mm, and then there were none. And
Uh,
actually, another one that you could say is very similar because people are dying in a group.
and yeah, and in a particular pattern and
Mm,
letters and yeah. Um, oh yeah, if you want a locked room, it's Agatha Christie.
yeah, and there's I think you could just probably pick one at random and it'd be better than this book. So just read those.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to think of honestly, one of my things that I didn't really mention for first impressions was I did think this was going to be a contemporary, and I was quite disappointed that it was set in the 1950s when we first started.
It didn't feel like it was set in the 1950s at all. There was no reference to 1950s fashion, 1950s decor. This could have been incredibly atmospheric. There was a freaking snowstorm outside, and at no point could I have painted you a picture of what anyone looked like, what the train looked like, and what was actually going on in the story.
Yeah. I have no idea what colour Anna's hair is.
No idea. What does Anna look like? She's got a red dress and she's just a balloon floating about with a red dress on. Dante, we know, has blue eyes.
We do, and dark hair?
Maybe. Sure.
Sure. Yeah, there was a lot. Thinking about it, despite having a female protagonist, there was a lot more emphasis put on the male characters in this story.
Yeah.
And the queer rep, just to be used to blackmail someone, seemed a little distasteful.
Yeah. Because I felt like it was put in there for reasons, which I won't discuss. Don't want to make any cast any aspersions, but it didn't feel particularly like he was trying to be an ally of any kind or try and have any kind of representation that was positive.
Nope.
Yeah.
No diversity in terms of POC characters.
Yeah. But I mean, the way that the whole kind of German Nazi sympathizer storyline was handled, I think is probably for the best.
God, honestly, I was just, I had to read that sentence at least 3 or 4 times to be like, sorry, you still, even now,
Even now.
12 years after the war, you still think the Germans are superior to anyone else. That isn't great, and I would keep it to yourself. Yeah, that's it. On to better things. On to better things. Amy, what are we
Better things.
what
Oh, I really hope this one's good because we know that this one has a huge fan base.
mm,
And I've been meaning to read it for a long time and don't really remember why I haven't. So fortuitous for the podcast though. We're going to read Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh.
yes, the boys of Tommen. It just doesn't seem to leave the conversation, which can only be a good thing, I hope. Like, some books take have like their month in the sun and then they sort of fizzle out and you don't really see them again. But The Boys of Tommen does keep cropping up as, it keeps getting more people reading it, more people talking about it. And I think they've been out for a little while, right?
Yeah,
Like,
a little while. Yeah, a little while. And there's a lot of them now. Sports romance wasn't really my thing, but ever since we read Heated Rivalry for the pod and I had such a great time with it, I'm willing to delve back in, see what's going on. We'll see.
we will see. I feel like just as a pre-warning, I think this is quite a lot darker than Heated Rivalry. So for anyone sort of unfamiliar with that, please check your trigger warnings maybe before coming back next week. But yes, we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Happy reading.